Okay, so today I want to cover how we create a trigger, fire that trigger, and then nest the artboard that trigger is in, and then fire it from the parent artboard that it's nested in. So as we can see, there's a scene set up here, and if we go to animate and we play, we can see that when we click, we fire a little meteor. Okay, great. So how does this work? Well, we have a parent artboard with a nested meteor artboard, which we can see on the right here. Okay. In the parent artboard, we've exposed the meteor animation, which will then allow us to trigger anything that's set up in the state machine over here. As you can see, meteor and a meteor. I think that's actually referring to the state machine, not so much an animation or an artboard there. Anyway, okay, so referring back to the state machine, we can see that when I click here, it fires this meteor. Now, for this to work, we need a trigger. We need a hitbox to take an event listener to get the user's interaction. We then have an animation that plays the shower, and we have a idle animation that basically just resets the position back to the starting location of this animation. Okay, so I'm just going to turn this little guy off here. Get back to the timeline. I'll show you are seeing interpolation. Okay, so zoom out a bit here. Now I'm just gonna, for the purpose of showing you how all of this works, delete all of this just now, and we will redo it. So on entry, we go straight to idle, which is that one frame idle animation over there. Then we go straight through to playing the shooting star animation with the condition if it's fired. Okay, and we have an event listener that is on this hitbox that when we click on it, triggers this input, and that would make this condition true, which will make it play the animation. Then we have to come back to idle, and for that we need to make sure that we tell it to exit only once that animation is finished playing. So we just say 100%. That's just easier than coming back all the time if you ever change the duration of this animation. Okay, so when we play, we can actually see all of this happen. Let me just not click on anything. We can see it jumping from there to there, finishing, and then jumping. Okay, so let's delete all of this out, and we start again. Skill everything here. That can go. That can go. I'm not going to be using any constraints. That can go. We can kill the inputs. Great. Now we have skilled those, obviously. Okay, so let's run through how you set this up from scratch. I'm going to go timeline. I'm going to call the first one idle. You generally have that timeline in the first place. I'm going to drag this over here. Okay. That's going to set an XY coordinate on this. I will then duplicate this and call this shooting star, whatever the case might be. I think go in about 40 frames, grab that arrow to make sure I'm going straight, and there we go. That's going that way, and I can then grab these 2 frames, do some interpolation on here, something like this, nothing too fancy. see what that looks like. Yep, okay. That's not quite a bit, but it's fine. I don't know. Whee! Okay, that's fine. Now, as we know, we need a trigger to, let's just say shoot. It needs to shoot the shooting star for us. So that might be better terminology. And then we need a, when the user clicks, okay. And I didn't select anything on stage, so it's just easier to do it this way. Click hitbox. It automatically sets this target, else you can go define the target yourself by clicking over here or on the actual target. I'm just going to say click. When I click this, you need to play or trigger the input shoot, which we'll do. We can see that in action just now once we tie some things up. So first idle, then shooting star. We start off by entering to idle, and then we're going to go to shooting star, and then let's play that. You can see that's working. Obviously there's no condition set yet, so the condition for this needs to be when shoot is true, and now we're in idle. I click shoot is true, but we're not coming back, so we want to come back now, and the back condition needs to be that exit time is 100% of the shooting star timeline. Okay, let's see if that worked. And we're back, and we're back, and we're back. Okay, but idle take us like a really long time to finish now, so let's see why that is. And well, we've got it for a whole second. So you've got to set the work area if you want something to be down. So if I set the work area to just these frames, when I hit play, only those frames will play. This gets really, this comes in handy when you're dealing with like walk cycles and things. It also comes in handy when you just need it to play for a frame. Alternatively, you could just set the duration over here. So just keep in mind, work area will overwrite that duration. The duration will just set your length over here. So how much area you've got to work with versus how much area you have available on your timeline. Okay, so display, click, and it's instantly back up there. So we've got a much better response time and a whole extra second of delay once we try to fire that. Okay, now we come back over to Artboard because we got to nest it. So we already nested it here. I'm just going to delete it and show you how nesting works. You're going to click up here. You're going to click nested Artboard. And you got to be careful because sometimes if you're in animate mode, like I tend to be in here a lot, this might not work. So there's been instances where I get confused to why it's not letting me nest an artboard, and very often I have to come back to design, and then that triggers quite nicely then. Other than that, there's no really no other gotchas for that, but yeah, just be aware that if you can't lay it down, make sure you're in design mode. There we go. Okay, so we've got that positioned at 0, 0 now, and we see if it's triggering. Ah, yes, it will not trigger. Why not? Well, we forgot to actually tell it, hey, I want the state machine available to me on the parent, and there we go.